back. I have another video, and this one was not one I thought I was going to make, but I decided I would just jump in on it like everybody else is, because it's still Warhammer the Old World, and even though it's not much of an update, and I don't think there's too much to look at here and get excited over, there are a couple things that I think are worth at least getting interested in. I'll get to that in a minute. So basically, Orcs, Bretonnians, and Tomb Kings are arriving. From what we knew, I think this was pretty much guaranteed. Maybe I read into some of the stuff before, and it really is like, you know, surprising to some people, but I don't think anyone is going to be shocked that this stuff is coming in. We already knew about Orcs, but I do think this is actually a hint of what they're doing, is that these Orcs are being mentioned specifically. So anyways, it's art. Here's a picture of a Bretonnian archer. He's a peasant. He looks like you would expect a peasant to look like from Bretonnia. If you've played Warhammer from 6th edition on, or if you've played Warhammer Total War, Warhammer, whatever it's called, Total War, Warhammer. He looks like the peasants we already have, just a nicer picture. And I think that's sort of what we're supposed to see here, is that they do mention that everybody's getting ready. I think it's, yeah, right here. Our miniature designers, painters, writers, illustrators, and graphic designers have all been engaged in a period of industrious activity, getting new miniatures designed and the main rulebook written, playtested, lavishly illustrated, and laid out. I think this is them basically saying that a lot of stuff has happened and is still happening in the background, even though they're not telling us about it. It's really not shocking. I had this conversation with a friend yesterday or the day before. Games Workshop doesn't tell us anything anymore. When I first started, we would have some inkling of stuff that was coming, you know, weeks or months in advance. And they don't do that anymore. They basically try to shut down rumors. They don't like anything getting out. The playtesters seem to have been fired, if I understood the story right, because of all the leaks coming out of them. I don't know how true that is. I like to think there's still playtesters somewhere. But anyways, that's a different problem in video at some point, maybe. But yeah, these guys here, they put out some art, and I think it's not surprising that this is all we're getting, because again, they don't like to show us too much, and this doesn't show us anything. It doesn't. We already know what peasants look like. Tomb King chariot. It looks like a Tomb King chariot. This looks like it's absolutely completely the same one we can buy now, or sorry, could buy now if they were still selling it, the last one they sold. And we got another Bretonnian. This time it's a knight. It looks like exact same units we have in our armies right now that we can use in Warhammer Total War. And then Orc on a boar boy. And again, all these things are discontinued. That's the sort of like unifying theme here. But we already knew about Orcs. They say Orcs are arriving. They're showing this off. I think they're just telling us that they're going to re-release all the units that we already had. And I've been saying this since the start. It's very likely just going to be the same kits we already had. A lot of people disagree with me. I've had people yell at me in Facebook groups because apparently I'm an idiot and I don't know anything and they would never do that. And I don't know if those people are like pessimistic about Games Workshop for re-releasing stuff and that, you know, we're never going to get anything back because Games Workshop's evil and they hate us. Or if they're the people that are so, you know, overly confident of what we're getting that they really think GW is going to re-release everything, brand new sculpts, you know, designs, and that this is going to be a completely different Warhammer experience in terms of visuals. And, you know, whatever the reasoning is, I think they're wrong. I thought they were wrong for, you know, 3 years now. We're just going to get the same stuff back. It costs them nothing. And I think Great Book of Grudges mentioned this today in a video. There have been rumors about this coming from somebody that's fairly known as far as rumors go. At least he was like a decade ago. Some guy named Hastings 76, something like that. He used to post to places like Warseer, and he was always pretty like good with his leaks or his rumors, and they were closer to leaks if he had it. He obviously had and probably still has a pretty close direct line to what's going on. And I myself always thought that he was probably actually an employee whose job was to just sort of leak this stuff to get people hyped up. Because he was always so close that I always just sort of thought that it was weird that he could always share this stuff. They could never figure out how to close the leak down that he was getting it from. Oh, sorry, I'm moving something on my desk. I just need a login while we're talking here. Sorry about the crinkling. Yeah, I don't know. He basically said what I've been saying. They're going to put out the same kits we've already had. It's all coming back. Anything that's already in existence and being used in Age of Sigmar is just going to remain. And there's only a couple things that are going to be new, which we already know about. Cathay and Kislev. Now, I'm assuming Cathay because of the whole thing with Total War. Just everything's coming back. It's going to be the same stuff. And I said they did this with Lord of the Rings. They put out a few new things here and there, but they mostly just say these models were good enough in 2002. They're just as fine now. And they also kept the cost down that way. Go and look at the new battle hosts or whatever they're called, the battle horses that they put out, or sorry, the get started quick, the combat patrols. I'm going to call them the combat patrols. Go look at those for Lord of the Rings. They just came out. They are $100 Canadian, and they're little armies in a box. If they were all brand new sculpts, and there are brand new sculpts in those, every single one is a brand new hero. And brand new Lord of the Rings heroes go for $40 to $50 Canadian or more. That means the rest of the miniatures, usually like a troll and like 25 orcs or something. Well, 24 orcs is like $50 or $60, and a troll's like $40 or $50. Like, those two things alone are, more than this box cost before discounts, even, from third-party sellers. And there's a new hero. Why? Because they're using sculpts that they paid off, 20 years ago. When that game was at the height of its popularity. And since they never went away, they just kept producing them. They kept selling them to the people playing Lord of the Rings, and it covered the cost. They don't care. They want us to buy all the extras. They want us to buy books. They want us to buy terrain sets. The terrain sets are expensive for Lord of the Rings. And I assume we're going to get terrain sets for this. We might even get the exact same terrain sets that we lost already. The hills, the manor, the towers, all those things might come back. They keep all the molds. So that means the troops that we've lost, the terrain that we've lost, it could all come back. It could all go for sale day one or get trickled out. However they want to do it. I do assume that day one we'll just see like all the armies will be out and some of the terrain. And that's what I think day one's going to be. But yeah, I think that this is what's going to happen. Where they're showing off discontinued armies here. I'm going to get back on track because they are going to re-release discontinued armies with models that we recognize, because all of these art pieces look just like the stuff we already had. They also, down here, they show off the map again, and more stuff has been added. Other people have gone into detail on this. I'm not going to. This is just lore stuff. And I mean, sure, you can pick at it and try to see like, oh, well, what are they going to add to the game? What's going to be there? I do think they're going to follow Total War's, method of you pick an army. So you pick Empire, and there'll be X many faction leaders that you can pick from. And those will be the things that we get new models for. They're going to be the new plastic or resin or whatever they are. They're going to be brand new. And otherwise, they're going to use the same units everybody else has, except for maybe one or two special units that only they get. And I think that's what we're going to see. And that's why they're all over the place. I think it's them just basically future-proofing their game, that they can be like, well, there's some orcs over here, and there's some orcs over there, and orcs over here. There's wood elves here, and here, and here, wherever. Like, I think there's, what is it? Wood elves here, wood elves here, wood elves here. They can give us 3 characters, like Orion, forget We get the queen's name. Give us one other, like, I think in Total War that Druchii, I don't know, some sort of tree person. The tree's over here. But the point is that I think that's what it's going to be. We're going to get some new plastic characters where necessary. I don't think the Wood Elves will need any because all their stuff or most of it got updated. And they will just have, like, be able to pick sort of like a custom-ish army based on that we can build up. Yeah. And they also mentioned this. This is pretty neat. So it's the 40th anniversary coming up of Warhammer Fantasy. So maybe that's when they're going to put this out. Maybe we will see something partway through this year coming that tells us, you know, what's happening with fantasy. And we are actually going to see it sooner than I thought. I still don't think so. I want to be positive, but, you know, 10th edition is coming. They'd have to get it out by, I think, April, so that it doesn't eat into 10th edition. I think April's about as late as they can release it. And if we don't start seeing some serious information dropping with a lot of articles come, say, February, I don't think we're going to see it this year. I just can't envision them, you know, putting out 10th edition and then, like, in October giving us this. I think that's something they wouldn't want to do. They wouldn't want to compete with their own flagship product just in case this takes off. I mean, this could be another Horus Heresy. I don't know if it will be, but I think that's more because Horus Heresy fans were never jaded like fantasy ones are. I can see a lot of fantasy players just, like, boycotting out of spite, which could, you know, bite us all in the ass and cost us the game. But I think them going past April is just unlikely, is what I'm getting at. But we'll see. Anyways, I'm going to stop the video there. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And as always, have a great day.